Hello and welcome to the Pulse podcast. My name is Amanda Livingston and I'm president of the Salem-Roanoke County Chamber of Commerce. And today we're at Red Velocity Studios in downtown Roanoke. And our guest today is Scottie Wyatt, president, owner, and principal agent of Northpoint Insurance Advisors. Welcome, Scottie.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
Thank you for being here. I so appreciate it. Why don't we just start by you telling us a little bit about your background?
Well, I was raised in Pulaski County, specifically Draper, and that was before Draper had the cool Draper Mercantile. So now more people know about Draper. I grew up there, went to Virginia Tech, and got my electrical engineering degree. And some people wonder, how did you go from electrical engineering to insurance? But that's a story we'll get into, I'm sure. Graduated, went into technical sales for a company based out of Portland, Oregon. Did that for about 20 years. Met my beautiful wife along the way in Raleigh, North Carolina. Aww. Have 3 kids, and that's always a joy and sometimes a challenge if anyone knows that have kids. But and then in 2017, I had an itch to run my own business and got into the insurance industry and been doing it ever since. Almost 10 years now, coming up next year.
Yeah, we'll have to do another ribbon cutting. Actually, One of the first ribbon cuttings I did when I started about 4 years ago was at your Salem location.
Right, yeah, on Clay Street.
Yes.
Yeah, we were there.
And you relocated since. And so sort of your MO, your business model is sort of to acquire existing businesses. Is that right?
I've done that 4 or actually 5 times. I acquired 2 agencies in Salem and combined those, and then 1 in Dublin and 1 in Floyd recently, in Floyd, Virginia. So that's been one of my strategies for growth. Yeah.
Kind of just seeking out people that are maybe ready to retire.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that just ready to move on to the next phase of life, whether that's retirement or move on to something else.
Well, we've been fortunate to be able to work with a lot of your team members, and it's just remarkable the culture that you've created.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate, we have Tulio as an ambassador, and, we've got to work with the whole team, and it's really a testament to the way that you run your business. Just the way that they work together so well, and there's just I feel like this genuineness about them and how, they just really want to help. And so anyway, I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's something that I'm very intentional when I hire to do personality tests, and I never was a fan of personality tests, but I just want to make sure they're a good team member, and multiple team members interview someone before we bring them on just to make sure that it feels like a great fit for the team. So thank you for noticing that, because it is very intentional.
It's very evident. It's very evident.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your specialty.
Well, part of our mission statement is to protect our clients against unacceptable financial loss. And so we specialize in making sure that if someone's 25 years old, we're protecting them and what they have. And if they're 55 or 75, we're also protecting them. And that looks different because where they are in the stage of life as far as their assets, their income, and what they have to protect. So we do that in auto insurance and home insurance and umbrella to make sure they have adequate protection. We do it in life insurance if you have a loved one that passes away, because you're protecting that income. And in businesses, to make sure that the businesses are protected also if they have an unfortunate financial loss. Okay. So that's, we're about 75% of what we do is personal, like auto and home, and 25% is commercial. So businesses like restaurants or contractors, things like that. But our main goal is to make sure that our clients are protected against those, those financial losses.
Mm-hmm. So you started back in 2017. Okay. Yeah. So, almost 10 years now. What's changed? How has the landscape changed?
It's changed a lot. In insurance, just kind of insurance 101, post-pandemic, the inflation started hitting really hard. And so prior to the pandemic, the customers' renewals were 1% to 3% increases. Now they're significantly more to account for inflation, because with insurance, your insurance is spreading the risk from you to many people. So instead of you having to pay to replace your car, you're sharing that cost with many other people, and you share that cost by paying a premium to an insurance company, and that insurance company will replace or repair your car. If you've injured someone, it's going to help pay for those injuries that you've caused. So as those costs rise for paying out those claims, so too do insurance premiums. So it has changed dramatically in the last 4 to 5 years because insurance premiums have gone up, and it makes us a lot busier trying to help customers mitigate those costs and have strategies to, just minimize those cost increases where we can. But it's changed a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Everything has just gone up.
Oh, everything. We're all trying to manage how do we make it. So
Yeah.
we're trying to help our customers with the insurance piece, but also making sure they still have good coverage.
So you see all these like commercials, Allstate, State Farm. What's the differentiator with an independent company like you all?
Yeah, so an independent agency can represent multiple insurance companies. So we represent companies like Erie Insurance, Liberty Mutual, Travelers, Progressive, and now Geico. Whereas with a State Farm, they're captive, is the term that you use in the insurance industry, where they can only provide State Farm coverage.
Ah.
Where with an independent agency, we have multiple options to make sure that the right policy fits for that person, and price and coverage.
So, and I'm guessing since it's an independent firm, the service is probably a little more customizable.
Well, it's local, so versus getting an 800 number with
Right.
some of the big captives, you have somebody local. You
It's
can come
kind
in.
of a funny term, captive. Like they've got you.
Got you tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're local. You can come in and do a policy review, make sure you have the right coverages. We go out to people's homes and inspect to make sure there's no liability risk, missing handrails, issues that could cause problems for the insurance company, but also for the client as well if someone gets hurt on the property.
So let's talk about business insurance. The chamber has about 450 business
Mhm.
owners in our chamber. So when it comes to business insurance, what are some practical tips you could give them?
Well, I think you want to try to find a person or an advisor that has a heart of a teacher. It's not your job to know everything about insurance, but it's your job as a business owner to understand what your risks are. And one of the common risks that's beyond just the general liability that most people think that they just need a general liability policy. Beyond that is cyber insurance risks and employment practices. And cyber is pretty evident because of the news we see every day, somebody getting hacked or ransomware, things like that happens. But employment practices is a risk that's been evolving, where it's when you hire someone or fire someone,
Right.
if you get a lawsuit filed against you for a protected class like race, religion, sex, etc. If you terminate someone and they allege that you dismissed them and violated one of those classes, those are protections for the business. So there's a lot of things that most business owners don't think about, but a good insurance advisor will educate you, give you those options, and you make the choice. That's what our philosophy is we educate you and then provide the options for you, and then you make an educated decision from there.
It seems like there's been a lot of changes in this last general session with laws, overseeing just employment laws. So, that's something that we've been talking about with different manufacturing companies. And so I don't know if that falls into insurance.
Significantly, because if you're not compliant as a company, I think is it 2028 they become
Right. Yeah. I think some of them start coming in 27 and then full
and it's
on.
really fast. So
Yeah.
people really have to be aware. So if you're not compliant, you could be sued, and the proper insurance protection can help you, protect your business and your assets.
Yeah, cyber insurance. I mean, we just had that whole big thing with the kids. All of their information was in this system. I can't remember the name of it right this second, but that was, I don't know if you heard about that it was like they just took over. Yeah, it's like this whole platform where all of the kids' information and all of their class information, how they do their homework, all of that was taken over. And so I can't imagine that kind of insurance must be very expensive, I'm guessing.
It's really not.
Really?
Like I have a client that fortunately we signed her on, and about 3 months later, she had a cyber event where someone uh, fraudulently wired money out of her account at $50,000.
Oh my gosh.
And she didn't have the coverage before she signed up for me, so she was ecstatic that she had switched because I had educated her. We ended up being able to recover that money for her, but someone had posed as a bank employee, called and her bookkeeper and fooled the bookkeeper in
Oh my
providing the
gosh.
credentials for them to be able to get into the account, and then they set up a wire transfer out of their online account.
So had she not had that insurance, she would have been out
She would have been at
$50,000.
50,000. That is a
Wow.
very common scam that we're seeing, and they're very smart,
Sure.
and
Know exactly what to
and
say.
and they operate with impunity because normally they're not in the US,
Sure.
and with AI now they're even more sophisticated, like
Uh-huh.
with their email scams and things. They're more natural sounding.
Can individuals get that insurance, or is that?
Yeah, you can. Most of the times you have some coverage on your home policy. If you have a good homeowner's insurance
Okay.
policy, there's cyber coverage for that.
Interesting.
But for people with higher wealth, there are dedicated policies to protect beyond just the standard homeowner's coverage.
So I just paid my car tax. Gotta love
Mhm.
Virginia. So let's talk about auto insurance. What's the most common mistakes people make when buying car insurance?
The most common that they just focus on the deductibles, like what am I going to have to pay if I have to repair, if I'm in an accident? And most people forget about bodily injury. And bodily injury is that number that you see. It's 100,000 slash 300,000 or 250 slash 500,000. That is what really protects you from catastrophic financial loss. Yes, a car can be financially a big hit for most people, but bodily injury is where if you cause an accident, you're responsible for those person's injuries. And we've all seen medical costs just ramp tremendously. So those are where the claims get really big, which is really driving a lot of insurance premiums higher too. Those because the cost of claims for medical injuries are really high. But most people ignore that
Or
bodily injury.
skimp on that?
Yeah, and that's if you're going to want to save money, you want to increase your deductibles for your car, your physical damage, and keep that bodily injury coverage as high as you can afford, because that's what really protects you from catastrophic loss.
Yeah, that makes sense. So beyond the legal minimums, what coverage do you actually recommend people carry on their vehicles?
We kind of minimum we recommend going back to bodily injury is 250,000 per person, 500,000 per accident. And if you've got net worth of assets over $500,000, we recommend an umbrella policy.
Okay.
Because the more net worth you have and also the more income you bring in, because they can garnish wages in a lawsuit,
Really?
the more likely you should have an umbrella policy, which acts as an additional million. It's $1 million increments are umbrella policies. So
Okay.
you can do 1 million up to 10 million. But the more assets you have and the higher income, that umbrella acts as an additional buffer before they get to your personal assets.
Yeah, that
So,
makes good sense.
but there's a lot of other coverages on auto policies. That gap coverage or something you buy from the dealer that can be offered on car insurance policies as well. But the biggest thing people need to make sure they have good coverage is the bodily injury, because that can really sink you
Yeah,
financially.
that makes sense. So let's talk home insurance. So a lot of homeowners just go with whatever the mortgage lender requires. What are they likely missing?
Well, a lot of times when you're getting a mortgage, they're trying to drive down that cost as
Sure.
much as possible for your debt to income ratio to meet limits. There's coverages on homeowners. It really boils down to good service when it comes to claims. I'm sure you've heard of people having a claim and just having a nightmare fighting with the insurance company, getting paid out or whatever. So just having an insurance carrier that has a good reputation for handling claims really well and not fighting you tooth and nail. The other thing we see is if you have a loss and let's say you have a house fire, it could be 9 months to 12 months before you can get back in. So making sure you have loss of use, which is paying for you to live somewhere else, rental income, make sure that's adequate to protect you for at least a year. Sometimes in some municipalities, like where I live in Blacksburg, it takes a long time for permitting and approvals and building process. So you may want to look at something that would be even longer than 12 months.
And so what are some of the lesser known things that home insurance does not cover that people assume it does?
Yeah, so since I've been in the industry so long, I think that everybody knows this, but a lot of clients don't. But earthquakes are not covered on standard policies. Sinkholes and floods are common. They're not included either. And with earthquakes, when I talk with clients about this, they're like, "Oh, we don't have earthquakes here." But actually, in Giles County, if you search 1897 Giles County earthquake, it was one of the largest on the East Coast. It was over a 6. Now, they don't have exact numbers, but so they do happen.
And they happen like every 100 years or something like that?
Who knows?
Okay.
I mean, fortunately, we're not California, but we can have big earthquakes here. So if you have a substantial loss in an earthquake, a lot of people don't have coverage. So we always offer it, make people aware of it, and they make a decision whether or not they want to.
And you could have hurricane insurance, but then they don't cover it because it was wind or water, right?
No, hurricanes are covered. So that's wind and hail coverage. So that's covered under most homeowners insurance policies.
Okay.
So yeah, people ask, is a tornado covered? Well, that's wind or hail or hurricanes would be wind. So that's standard coverage on homeowners policies.
Okay.
The other thing that people don't realize is seepage. Seepage is when outside water comes into your home. That's normally excluded. If you have a break of a pipe or something inside your home, that's covered. Included. But anything protruding from the outside in is excluded. Now, there are some optional coverages available on homeowners to protect that situation.
Okay, so filing a claim. Walk us through what actually happens when a client calls. There's been an accident or a house fire. Like, how does it all work? What's the process?
Yeah, so depending on the claim, I mean, a claim can be a chip in their glass, which is basically filing a claim, and they follow up with Glass America or Safe Light to get a repair, to somebody's going to the emergency room. So there's different severities, and depending on the severity, we would make sure that client, if it's a really serious accident, we'd make sure that the adjuster is aware that somebody's calling them immediately from the insurance company. And that's where the insurance company you pick makes all the difference in the world, because some of them wait several days to call. And if you've had a claim, you're waiting to see what happens. But good insurance companies will follow up within 4 to 5 hours. Now, a home claim, some people are like, well, I can't do anything until I hear from the adjuster. Your objective is to go ahead and secure your home as good as you can. If you can get a tarp over your roof, if there's damage like that or a tree falls on your house, you can go ahead and act and start protecting your home and just save receipts, take plenty of pictures, things like that. Because if it's a catastrophic loss region-wide, it could be several days before you see an adjuster, and you don't want to just leave a big hole in your roof, letting more damage happen. So
take pictures before you do anything.
Right. Take pictures and be in touch with your agent, and your agent can also provide you more insight and direction.
So do you care to share a story that really stuck with you as far as like a claim?
Yeah. I have a good friend that he wasn't a client at the time, but he owns a business. And believe it or not, he got a lawsuit filed against him because his website was not compliant for a blind person to use.
Oh my gosh.
So he gets the lawsuit a week later.
Whose website is compliant for
Well,
blind?
there's ways you do it. I'm not a web developer, but there's text behind each image that will be read to a blind person. I'm not sure how, but
so the computer can read
so that the blind person can surf the web and look at things. So his website was actually very compliant. It was like over 95% compliant, which was very good. A week later, he receives a letter saying, we'll drop this lawsuit if you give us $10,000. Oh. He refused to do that. And over a 2-year period, he spent over $90,000. He won, but he spent 2 years of his life fighting this and $90,000 in legal fees.
Oh my gosh.
There's employment practices liability that I explained earlier, the protected classes, that would have protected his business in that situation. His agent never did make him aware of it or educate him about it.
Wow.
He has it now.
Yeah.
So
I guess we should all go back and see if we've got that.
That's one of the strangest claims that I wasn't involved in that personally, but I know it. I know it well because he's a friend, and now he's a client.
So the person was actually a blind person that pursued that? It
Yes,
almost sounds like a scam.
it was, because the same legal firm that filed that lawsuit filed it against 500 other companies.
Yeah.
So it was one of those
Sure.
things that it was the same exact verbiage on the lawsuit, and everything was the same across the country.
Okay, everybody needs to go back and what's it called? This particular
Employment Practices Liability, EPL is the short.
EPL. Gotta
Mhm.
get, and it's probably not super expensive
It
to
is
add
not.
on.
It depends on your number of employees, but it's not that expensive.
Well,
If
thank
you're,
you for sharing that.
yes,
That is really
yes.
scary. Okay, so if someone is shopping for insurance purely on price, what would you tell them?
Well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Just like if you were going to buy a watch or some clothes, there's different quality of items that you buy, and it's no different than insurance. You can find cheap policies with low bodily damage or bodily injury, the state minimum limits. But when it comes time to a claim, you may not be covered well or at all. You'll have to fight like crazy. So just be aware that the reputation of the company you use is a big factor in how they handle claims, and be there for you when you need them.
And so your clients, would they contact you, or would they call their insurance company directly? How did that work if something comes up where they need to file a claim?
Most of the time they call us because they want advice, because we want to walk them through, is this something to file a claim? But is it a scratch? And, have they had previous claims? We want to educate them about the process so they don't file a claim and have multiple claims and then have an insurability issue later on. So
Right.
we'll educate them, let them make that final decision whether or not it's a loss they want to have help. And if it's an accident and two cars, most of the time we need to file that claim, because any moving accident like that, there's people involved. You never know what that can balloon to. So I advise people not to try to pay that out of pocket.
So what's one thing you wish every homeowner or driver knew about insurance that most people just don't know?
Well, we've already talked about the importance of bodily injury. The other thing most people don't understand is that, like many things in this world, credit score is a big factor in your price. So protecting your credit score. I'm not a big fan of the credit score system, but it is factored in how the pricing on insurance policies are done. So that's a factor. And then previous claims are also a factor. So most people don't think about that, because I can quote you the same exact vehicle, same exact house, and quote somebody else. And if your insurance score or credit score, things like that are different, you could be a lot cheaper than the other person. And people don't understand that.
So as far as filing claims, is there some kind of database where the insurance can look and see?
Yeah, it's just like if you are late on a payment, there's a database like with the Equifax and the three.
They have the same thing for insurance.
They have the same thing for
I did not
insurance,
know
where
that.
all the insurance companies kind of get that or can pay for that data, I believe.
So tell us a little bit. You've got 4 offices. Why would I want to, possibly change my insurance and move it over to you for my car and home?
Well, I mean, we're a no pressure. We're not high pressure. It's more our goal, and I tell my staff this all the time, it's to educate clients or prospects. And if we do a good job at that, then maybe we'll win their business, but not all the time. But we just have a heart of, I always tell the staff, we want to have the heart of a teacher. And so we educate them, give them the options. And if we're competitively priced and we do a great job at what we're, advising them, then we could win the business. So,
well, we certainly appreciate all the engagement at the chamber and all the community service
You're
work
doing a
that
great
you do.
job.
Oh, well, we just have such a great group of members, including you all. So I guess one thing I always ask everyone is, what do you love most about living in the Valley, and what's your favorite watering hole or restaurant?
So I like most that it's a community, and people value relationships, and running a business, whether it be insurance or repair shops, you value working with people locally. So I think that's really valued here in the Valley, in Roanoke Valley and the New River Valley. So I like that, and being able to run a business. I don't like transactional things. I like to have a relationship and being able to genuinely help people and educate people. And I think people value that here.
Yeah, it definitely comes through.
Yeah, thank you. As far as my favorite spots, kind of more of a fancy place that me and my wife have enjoyed is Sidecar here in Roanoke.
Oh, yeah, I love Sidecar.
It's a great place.
It is.
Kind of a great place for lunch or dinner. Casual is Due South Barbecue.
Oh,
in Salem. It's a great little spot.
nice.
The owner is a great person as well. And we really like Eastern Divide Brewery down in the Blacksburg area.
Okay.
They do a great job. It's a great venue, nice open area on a sunny day to go visit. And,
Sounds like you guys get out a good bit.
well, probably more than we should. But
Well,
thank
this
you.
has been fun. Thank you for sharing. I've learned a lot. I'm sure the viewers will have
I hope
learned
so.
a lot too. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm Amanda Livingston with the Salem Roanoke County Chamber. We'll see you next time.